It was a dark and stormy night, and Sarah had just given birth to her first child, a beautiful baby girl. As she held her daughter in her arms, she felt a surge of love and protectiveness wash over her. She knew that she would do anything to keep her child safe, no matter what. But Sarah's joy was short-lived. A few weeks after her daughter was born, she received devastating news. Her husband had been diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of cancer, and the prognosis was grim. Sarah was shocked and heartbroken.
She couldn't imagine how she was going to cope without her husband by her side. As the months went by, Sarah's husband grew weaker and weaker. He was in and out of the hospital, and Sarah had to take on more and more responsibility at home. She had to take care of her daughter, manage the household, and try to maintain a sense of normalcy for her family. Sarah's husband's condition continued to deteriorate, and eventually, the doctors told her that there was nothing more they could do.
Sarah was devastated. She knew that her husband was going to die, and she didn't know how to face the future without him. One day, as Sarah was sitting by her husband's bedside, he turned to her and whispered, "Promise me something, Sarah."
"Promise me that you'll take care of our daughter, no matter what." Sarah looked at him, tears streaming down her face. "Of course, I promise," she said. "I'll do anything for you and for her."
Her husband smiled weakly. "Thank you," he said. "I love you." Those were the last words he ever spoke. Sarah's husband passed away a few days later, leaving her to face a life without him. Sarah was overwhelmed with grief, but she knew that she had to keep her promise to her husband. She threw herself into motherhood, doing everything she could to make sure that her daughter had a happy and healthy childhood.
She worked hard to provide for her family, taking on multiple jobs to make ends meet. But as her daughter grew older, Sarah began to notice something strange. Her daughter was sick a lot. She had frequent infections, and she was always tired.
Sarah took her to the doctor, and after a series of tests, they discovered the cause of her daughter's illness, a rare genetic disorder that would require expensive and extensive medical treatment.
Sarah made the difficult decision to quit her job and become a full-time caregiver for her daughter. She knew that it would be a struggle financially, but she was willing to do whatever it took to make sure that her daughter had the care she needed. Over the next few years, Sarah devoted herself to her daughter's care. She took her to doctor's appointments, administered medications, and helped her with physical therapy. It was a grueling and exhausting job, but Sarah did it with love and determination. As time went on, Sarah's sacrifices began to take a toll on her own health. She was tired all the time, and she barely had enough energy to take care of herself, let alone her daughter. But she refused to give up. She knew that her daughter needed her, and she wasn't going to let her down.
One day, Sarah's daughter was rushed to the hospital with a severe infection. Sarah stayed by her side, praying that she would pull through. The doctors worked tirelessly to save her, but her condition continued to worsen. In the middle of the night, as Sarah sat by her daughter's bedside, she realized that her daughter needed a kidney transplant in order to survive. The doctors told her that the chances of finding a donor were slim, and that even if they did find one, the surgery would be risky.
Without hesitation, Sarah knew what she had to do. She offered to be a donor for her daughter, knowing that the surgery would be difficult and that it would take a toll on her own health. But she was willing to do whatever it took to save her daughter's life.
TE's surgery was a success, but Sarah's health continued to decline. She was weak and exhausted, and she could barely move without feeling pain. But even in her weakened state, she refused to give up. She continued to care for her daughter, even when it meant sacrificing her own health and well-being.
Years went by and Sarah's daughter grew stronger and healthier. She went to college, got a job, and started a family of her own. Sarah was proud of her daughter and grateful for the life they had built together. But she knew that her sacrifices had taken a toll on her body, and she knew that her TI.
Years went by, and Sarah's daughter grew stronger and healthier. She went to college, got a job, and started a family of her own. Sarah was proud of her daughter and grateful for the life they had built together. But she knew that her sacrifices had taken a toll on her body, and she knew that her time was running out.
On a warm summer day, Sarah's daughter came to visit her in the hospital. She held her mother's hand, tears streaming down her face, and told her how much she loved her. Sarah smiled weakly, knowing that her daughter was going to be okay. As Sarah slipped away, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. She knew that she had done everything she could to protect her daughter, and she knew that her sacrifices had been worth it. She closed her eyes, grateful for the love she had given and received in her lifetime.
In the end, Sarah's sacrifice was the ultimate act of love. She gave everything she had for her daughter, knowing that it was the right thing to do. And even though she was gone, her love lived on in her daughter's heart, a testament to the power of a mother's love. At Sarah's funeral, her daughter stood in front of the crowd and spoke about her mother's sacrifice. She spoke about how her mother had given her life not once, but twice, and how she was grateful for every moment they had shared together.
As she finished her speech, Sarah's daughter saw the tears in the eyes of those around her. She knew that her mother's sacrifice had touched many lives and that her legacy would live on. Years went by and Sarah's daughter never forgot the sacrifice her mother had made. She shared her story with her own children, telling them about the love and devotion her mother had shown her. And in her heart, she knew that her mother's love had been the greatest gift of all.
As the years turned into decades, Sarah's daughter grew old and eventually passed away, but her mother's legacy lived on, passed down from generation to generation, and even though Sarah was gone, her love continued to shape the lives of those she had touched. In the end, Sarah's sacrifice was a reminder that love knows no bounds. It was a testament to the power of a mother's love, and a reminder that sometimes the greatest acts of love require the greatest sacrifices. And so, Sarah's story lives on, inspiring others to love deeply, to give selflessly, and to cherish every moment with those they love. For even though our time on this earth is brief, the love we share with others can last a lifetime and beyond.
Sign up now to access our exclusive content. Let us know what you think by leaving a comment below. Share our videos with your friends if you think they might be interested. Like this post if you agree with us. Subscribe to our channel to receive exclusive updates.